It's so big, it could fall over.
How is this even possible?
I'm Erica, and these are my kids. We call them
Big
and
little.
Our brains work best when we're moving, when we can touch things, when we can ask questions the second we think of them. Traditional classrooms weren't really built for us, so we're rope schooling, learning our way through all 63 national parks, one trail at a time. We're at Redwood National and State Parks. Here's what we're going to find out today. We're going to learn how these trees grow so tall they drink fog straight out of the sky. We'll find out what's happening underground right beneath our feet. And then we'll learn about the long, unfinished list of women who have fought for this place for over 100 years and are still fighting right now.
Are we there yet?
This park is not like other national parks where you pull up to one entrance and you're in. This place is a long, thin ribbon of coastline in California, about 50 miles from north to south, and the best things to see are scattered across that whole length. So the first decision you have to make is where to sleep. If you're seeing the southern section, and you should because that's where Fern Canyon and Prairie Creek and Ladybird Johnson Grove are, you base yourself in Arcata. It's a cool college town and it's close to a lot of the trails. Then drive north. Spend a night in Crescent City for the northern section. That's where Jedediah Smith is, and Jedediah Smith is where you'll find Stout Grove, which many people say is the most magical forest in the entire park system. That's why we're spending 2 nights here, one in the south and one in the north. One thing to know, much of this park has no cell service. We downloaded our offline maps before we got here.
Whoa!
What the? Doodle.
You're seeing your first old-growth redwoods.
I can't even see the top. My neck hurts already.
Let's pull over. You need to stand next to one.
Bruh.
How is it not falling over?
The trunk is so big.
You would need about 20 kids from your class all holding hands in a circle to reach around that trunk. Okay, look up. No, really, tilt your head all the way back. You see those trees disappearing into the fog? They're as tall as a 35-story building, or even some of them are as big as the Statue of Liberty.
What?
These trees have roots that only go down about 6 to 12 feet into the ground. That's about as tall as your bedroom ceiling back home. Not very deep for a tree as tall as the Statue of Liberty, right?
How do they not fall over?
See these roots spreading out? They don't go deep, but they go wide. 60 to 80 feet in every direction. And when they find their neighbor's roots, they grab on. They interlock like your fingers interlacing. You know how we hold hands when we're hiking in case one of us falls down? That's what the roots do underground. So if wind tries to push over this tree, it's not just pushing one tree, it's pushing this tree and the 3 trees holding on to it and the 9 trees holding on to those trees and the 27 trees holding on to those. Hundreds of trees all holding each other up.
So they're like a team?
Yeah, like a family. If you fall, I fall. So let's keep each other up.
Mom, I'm thirsty.
Here's your water bottle. And you know who else is thirsty? These trees. They can hold up to 500 gallons of water. That's 500 of those big milk jugs we have in our fridge. And what they don't get from the ground, they drink from the clouds. And what's super interesting is that these trees actually have a role to play in making the clouds.
Wait, trees make clouds?
Well, they actually make fog, which is kind of like clouds close to the ground.
Like Carl the Fog?
Like Carl the Fog, exactly.
Okay, that's crazy.
The trees release these chemicals called terpenes into the air. You can smell them right now. That sweet forest smell? Take a deep breath.
It does smell a little like Christmas trees.
Those are terpenes. Scientists have confirmed that they float up into the air, react with the atmosphere, and help fog develop.
Mom, look at this tree. It's black on one side and it's hollow inside.
That's a fire scar. This tree survived a wildfire 100 years ago, maybe more. The bark on these trees can grow up to 12 inches, full of tannins, natural chemicals that don't burn easily. It's basically fireproof armor. As long as that thin, living layer just under the bark survives the heat, the tree heals.
Ooh, what is that?
That, my dear, is a banana slug.
It's huge, and it's leaving a slime trail everywhere it goes.
That slime trail is part of the most important job in this forest: cleaning up. See all this stuff on the ground? Dead leaves, fallen branches, even animal poop? If nobody ate it, this whole forest would be buried under centuries of gross stuff. But banana slugs, the second largest slug in the world, eat all of this dead material.
They eat poop?
They eat poop. They eat dead leaves. They eat mushrooms. And then they digest it all and turn it into nutrient-rich soil that feeds the baby redwood trees. And they actually help baby redwoods by eating the competing plants around them. They never eat redwoods themselves. It's like they know which trees to protect.
They touch it.
No. Banana slugs breathe through their skin, through that slimy coating. Our hands have oils, soap residue, maybe even hand sanitizer, all kinds of chemicals that can damage their delicate skin and make it hard for them to breathe.
Oh, so we'd accidentally hurt it?
Exactly. And if you touched it and ate a snack without washing your hands,
Gross!
the slime can actually numb your tongue. It's a defense mechanism against predators.
So we can look but don't touch?
Exactly. Look at that slime trail. It keeps the slug from drying out. And it can even use that slime to rappel down the branches like Spider-Man.
What?
So watch your head. But you want to know who understood this? The holding each other up thing better than anyone else? The people who lived here first. The Yurok peoples have been part of this forest system, watching the trees, learning from the trees, living with the trees.
Did they cut them down?
Almost never. And when they did use redwood for their houses and their canoes, they waited for the trees to fall naturally. They believed the redwoods were like sacred living beings, and when they carved their canoes, they placed symbolic organs and a heart inside, because the wood was still living.
Yeah, we saw the canoe in the historical center. It had a nose, the lungs, the heart, the kidneys, and the seat.
And here's the thing. They managed this forest for thousands of years.
What happened to them then?
That's the hard part of the story. In 1850, gold was discovered at Gold Bluffs Beach, where we camped last night. And within a year, thousands of settlers flooded into this region. State militias and settlers massacred entire villages. By 1895, only a third of the Yurok remained.
Why did people do that then?
Because they wanted the land. And they didn't see indigenous peoples as part of the ecosystem. They saw them as obstacles. You know what I keep thinking about as we walk through here? Every person who ever fought to protect this place, they all had to ask themselves the same question. What power do I have? And how do I use it? I'm going to tell you about 4 amazing women who dedicated their lives to fighting for this incredible landscape. And they all did it in totally different ways. Let's start in the year 1919 with Laura Perot Mahan. At this time, women still can't vote. They can't own property, they can't run for office. But Laura had something that the big city conservationists didn't have. She mobilized the women in her community, one by one. And the loggers, the people who they were trying to stop, were her neighbors, her husband's friends, people she saw at church every Sunday. So when she heard a lumber company was illegally cutting a protected grove, she mobilized a group of women and drove straight to the logging site. They stood in front of the equipment, and the loggers, who knew Laura and her friends, just stopped. They couldn't hurt them. And while Laura held the line, her husband James raced to file emergency legal papers to halt the logging permanently. Together, they saved what's now called Founder's Grove. She used the one lever she had, her place in the community, and it worked. But grassroots pressure can only reach so far. Sometimes you need someone with a bigger lever. Let's jump forward to 1968. Lady Bird Johnson is the First Lady of the United States, and she is a fierce advocate for wild places. She pushed, she lobbied, and on October 2nd, 1968, her husband, President Johnson, signed the law creating Redwood National Park.
Finally!
Finally! The following year, they named a grove in Redwood National Park after her, and when she walked through it, here's what she said.
The gift of the redwoods is peace. Here in the woodlands, one can sense the great contrast between the slow, steady life of these trees, with all their majesty and solitude, and our pell-mell daily life, our headlong urban bustle with its taxi rides, red lights, and jet-powered mobility. The Latin name for the great redwoods, Sequoia sempervirens, means the tree that never dies.
Lady Bird understood what that meant. She used the one big lever she had, the presidency, to make sure that these trees would stay protected forever. But sometimes it turns out that laws have fuzzy edges and parks have boundaries on a map. And in 1997, the logging companies showed up in the redwood's backyard. 1,000-year-old redwood on private land right near the park gets marked to come down. Her name was Luna.
The tree was a she?
Well, the woman who saved her thought so. Her name was Julia Butterfly Hill. She was 23 years old, and she'd been in a car accident. And she came out of it feeling like she needed something different. Like she wanted to do something. She just didn't know what.
I just wanted to help, and I heard about tree sitting, and I was like, oh, I can do that. I don't know how to be a quote-unquote activist, but I can live in a tree in the middle of nowhere by myself with very little resources. I can do all of that.
And when she heard Luna was going to be cut, she climbed up 180 feet, and she stayed there for 738 days.
That's like 2 whole years.
The logging company hired security guards to stop people from bringing her food. They flew helicopters dangerously close to her platform, trying to scare her down. But she stayed.
I'm also very stubborn, so I don't give up. When I believe in something deeply enough, I don't give up. And when we have days where we're tired and sad and overwhelmed, it's okay to take a rest because we need rest. But that's different than giving up.
And after 2 years, the logging company signed an agreement. Luna would be preserved. Julia climbed down.
Is Luna still alive?
Luna's still alive. In the year 2000, a vandal took a chainsaw to her in the middle of the night and nearly cut halfway through her trunk. But remember what we learned before when we talked about the fire damage. These trees are resilient. So Luna healed, grew over the wound, and kept on going. Hear that? That's the Klamath River, which runs through the park. Here's the story of the fourth woman protecting this landscape, and she's still fighting today. The Klamath was the third largest salmon-producing river on the West Coast. The Yurok people built their entire way of life around it. So when 4 dams went up on this river and blocked the salmon from reaching their spawning grounds, tens of thousands of salmon died in the Klamath in a single event. A young Yurok woman named Amy Cordalis stood at this river and watched it happen. She said that she felt her great-grandmother come to her and tell her she had to fight. So she went to law school. She became the Yurok tribe's first general counsel and spent 12 years fighting to bring those dams down. And ultimately, they won. It was the largest dam removal in American history, finished in 2024. And Amy, afterwards, said,
you take out those dams, the river heals, the river is free, the salmon are free, and so are the people, because we're all in deep relationship and dependent upon one another, and one can't be free without the other.
So that's 4 totally different ways of making change over a century. Laura used her community. Lady Bird used the presidency. Julia made the whole world pay attention. And Amy used the power of the law. And the thing that makes the difference? People. That's the only thing that ever has. These trees are still here because someone was always paying attention, always angry enough, always stubborn enough. Our country's wild spaces, all of them, not just this one, they always need our eyes. We can protect them. From resource extraction, from budget cuts, from people deciding they're not worth protecting anymore.
Mom, this is a lot. What can we do?
3 things, and they're all about connection. First, if you visit this park, and I really hope you do, make the Yurok tribe your first stop. They know this place better than anyone. They offer canoe tours on the Klamath River using traditional redwood canoes. Second, when you're older, there are real jobs where you can help. If you're between the ages of 15 and 18, you can apply for the Youth Conservation Corps, a paid 8-week summer job where you build trails, maintain bridges, and remove invasive species. And if you're in high school, there's a program called Redwoods and Climate Change, where students go into the forest to measure tree diameters and heights, providing data that real scientists can use to track how drought and climate change are affecting the trees. Third, and this is the most important one, are you ready? Share what you know. The redwoods were saved by thousands of people. Kids, women, indigenous people, scientists, activists, all holding on to each other like those roots underground. If you fall, I fall. That's the lesson of the redwoods, and it's the lesson of every movement that ever changed the world. You don't have to be the tallest. You don't have to be the strongest. You just have to hold on to your friends. That's it for this stop on our Rome School journey. We're learning our way through all 63 national parks. If you want to follow along with us, or download activity guides, or share your own park adventures, visit us at romeschoolfamily.com. And if you visit Redwood National Park, tag us in your photos. We want to see them. Next time, we'll be heading to Crater Lake, where we'll explore America's deepest lake inside the yawning mouth of a volcano. Send any questions you have, and we'll try our best to answer them along the way. Until then,
keep asking, keep moving, keep learning.
This episode was recorded on the traditional and ancestral lands of the Yurok peoples, who have been the guardians of these forests since time immemorial, and whose knowledge continues to guide the restoration and protection of the redwood ecosystem today. Learn more about the Yurok tribe's conservation work and traditional canoe tours at yuroktribe.org. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.